Hey kid, I was thinking about, this would have been the fall of '86, at least the fall, maybe a little later. After G and I had broken up a few months earlier, I was still kind of in my emotions about it, wondering whether we did the right thing, should we get back together, all that bullshit that people go through when you break up. And Shannon came up to the theater. She was best friends with G, but she was also at this time kind of transitioning to become better friends with you. You guys were already close, but over the next year, you guys were going to be, inseparable bosom buddy besties, and that just coincided with you and I meeting each other and taking off as a couple. But Shannon came up. I was at Valero in Goochland this morning. I was in my own world. I was at the register, paying for some water and doing the rewards and texting somebody, and my phone was ringing. It's like one of those moments where I'm like fucking three things going on at once. And out of the corner of my eye, somebody came into through the side entrance, some dude, and the other lady behind the counter said something like, "Hey, Preppy," or something like that. She knew him. And behind me, I heard the guy go, "Hey, what's up?" or whatever he said. And I took care of my business, paid, started going to the car, and then I turned around and looked back, and I was like, fuck, that's Mr. Kidd. It was your husband. It was your husband. I'm 99.1% positive that it was your husband. Now, could it have been somebody else that resembled him? Yeah, but out that way, I've seen him before, like it's been a while, I don't know. I'm almost positive it's him. And my brain went right to, fuck, when he came in through the side door, he would have been facing me directly. Did he recognize me? And if he did, what went through his head? You and I were before him. It wasn't an easy transition for either of us moving on, and it certainly, he and I never had words and didn't have beef, and I was certainly grateful, and I'm still grateful that you guys found each other. You deserved that happiness that I took from you. I wasn't good for you, he was. So I was super thankful for that. Envious, sure. I wish we would have worked things out and figured it out. I wanted to marry you, but I fucked that all up, which I've talked about before. But I started to wonder, like, what did he think about it? If he did recognize me, like, what went through his head? Was it, I don't know. That's what I was thinking about. Anyway, thinking about the time when I got to talk to you the first time, beyond just a hello passing through the halls or whatever, school. Shannon came to the theater. It was she had that pickup truck, and then there was another car behind her. It was her and her friends, and you just happened to be one of them. And I remember like waving to her as she's getting out of her truck through the big glass window at the front of the theater. And then you got out of the passenger side, and I was like, holy shit, Kid is a fucking smoke show babe. And I'm sitting there watching. You had shorts on, a t-shirt, you had the floppy socks pushed down around your sneakers. I was just like, oh my God, she is so beautiful. And then I was like, okay, they're coming in. Let me get my shit together because Kid's coming in. And do I want to talk to her? Fuck yeah, I want to talk to her. But also Shannon was there to see me. So, I had to make sure to balance that out. She came in, and I think Catherine, your friend Catherine, was driving the other car. I don't quite remember who the other girls that were with y'all were. But I was trying to balance the conversation, talking to Shannon. I think y'all weren't coming to see a movie. Y'all were going to a party, and y'all just happened to stop by to say hello. She wanted to say hello to me. And then I was trying to work in conversation and see what you're about, and strike up some conversation. And one of the things I remember that I picked up on later was one of your mannerisms when you got a little anxious or nervous or that, that kind of frame. You would get a little knock-kneed, like your knees would turn in, you get a little pigeon-toed, and you were doing that. And I'm not saying you were necessarily nervous about me, but, well, yes, you were, and I'll explain that in a second. At the time, I just noticed, like, why the fuck is she standing like that? Like, why is she all turned in that way? And anyway, so we talked for a little while. I think you were on there probably 15 minutes just bullshitting, and then y'all left to the party, whatever. The next day, Shannon called me and kind of ran me through the ringer. She's like, could it be any more fucking obvious? I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you were hitting on Kid. I was like, I wasn't hitting on anybody. Like, I was like oblivious to it. I was. I don't know, I was hitting on you more than smitten and paying attention to you. She's like, oh my gosh, like, it's so obvious that you were hitting on her. Obvious to everyone you were hitting on, like all that stuff. And I was like, oh man, I was hoping both that I wasn't and I was. And I was like, well, what does she think? What does she think? What does she think? And at the moment, like, all I knew is that you didn't have a boyfriend. And this was probably fall. You and I didn't go out for a couple of months. Like, we didn't go out for a couple of months. Like, football was going on. I was knee deep in that. Eventually, basketball started for you. It overlapped with football. Then I talked about this in another thing where, you know, you and I, Goo Goo Eyes and Starry Eyed came to one of your basketball games, and I sure as shit was during football taking the extra long way through the gym to get to the field house because I just had to see you. I had to see you in your basketball shorts. Yeah, I had to see you in your basketball shorts. You know, you were so fucking fine, and I was all about you. And you know, trying to figure out where G and I ending and what was that all about, and I'm kind of going through that. But yeah, that was the first time I talked to you, more than just, you know, chit chat. Was at the theater that night, and I did learn that later that you were taken by me, and maybe taken a little bit by surprise that I started flirting with you there, and that's why you got a little knock-kneed and pigeon-toed because you know, I don't think you had given it much thought prior to that, but after that, you and I were quickly evolved into being all about each other and eventually going out. But yeah, so saw Mr. Kid this morning, saw your husband. Hope you didn't feel a certain way about seeing me, and then thinking about that time that you came up to the theater the first time, that I really had Goo Goo Eyes for you. I'll put it that way.